The thing that hurts a woman the most isn't when you fight with her, and it isn't even when you walk away. It's when you stop needing her validation. That's the moment her sense of power over you begins to crumble. Most men miss this. They think the deepest cuts come from arguments, jealousy, or rejection. But the truth is far simpler. A woman feels the sharpest sting when she realizes her approval no longer dictates your emotions. When you stop orbiting around her, when her silence no longer leaves you, begging for attention, that's when she starts to feel the absence of her influence. Here's the reality. Too many men give their power away without even noticing. They explain themselves endlessly. They chase after scraps of attention. They beg for answers thinking that will restore connection. And with every act of desperation, they lose more of her respect. Because in her psychology, a man who needs her too much is already beneath her. But when you flip that script, everything shifts. When you choose silence over pleading, when you embrace scarcity instead of constant availability, when you stand grounded in your own presence, instead of reaching for hers, you create a gravity she can't ignore. She begins to notice the gap. She feels the strength of your boundaries. And that's when the power dynamic changes. This video is about that shift. The number one thing that hurts a woman when she doesn't value you, and how you can reclaim yourself in the process. Let's get into it. Number 1. Stop begging for her approval. If there's one habit that quietly destroys a man's power in a relationship, it's begging for her approval. Most men don't see it while it's happening. They think they're showing love, being attentive, or keeping the peace. But every time you ask for permission to exist, every time you look to her to confirm your choices, you're giving away your frame. And once she senses that your worth depends on her validation, her respect begins to fade. Picture David, 54, from Denver. He used to be the kind of man his wife Lisa, 49, admired. He had direction, built his business, stayed in shape, and carried himself with quiet confidence. But over the years, David started slipping into approval seeking without even noticing. He stopped going to the gym because he didn't want her to feel neglected. He second-guessed every decision, always asking, "What do you think? Is this okay?" He even stopped seeing his old friends if she didn't want to go. At first, Lisa enjoyed the attention, but gradually she felt the pull of attraction weaken. The man she had wanted was the man who stood on his own 2 feet, not the one orbiting her opinions. That's the danger of chasing approval. To a man, it feels like safety. To a woman, it feels like weakness. You think you're keeping closeness alive, but in reality, you're suffocating it. Because women don't desire men they can control. They desire men who lead themselves. The Stoics warned about this trap long before modern psychology gave it labels. Epictetus said, "If you want to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid." In other words, stop living for how others see you. A man rooted in Stoicism doesn't fear being misunderstood. He doesn't beg to be validated. He chooses to live in alignment with his values, knowing approval is fleeting, but integrity is permanent. Take another example. Angela, 46, married to Mark, 51, once admired him for his confidence. When they met, Mark made bold choices. He didn't apologize for his goals. He wasn't reckless, but he wasn't afraid to lead. Over time, though, Mark started bending. He apologized for things he hadn't done wrong. He showered Angela with gifts whenever she seemed upset. He asked constantly, "Are you mad at me?" To him, this looked like effort. To her, it looked like desperation. Instead of feeling chosen, she felt smothered. The more he begged for reassurance, the less she respected him. This is the paradox. Approval-seeking never secures love. It only secures tolerance, and often contempt. Because the moment she realizes her validation controls you, she can no longer see you as the man she once admired. She sees you as dependent. And desire doesn't grow where dependence lives. So, what's the shift? You stop explaining yourself when no explanation is needed. You stop waiting for her reaction before moving forward. You stop apologizing just to smooth over tension. Instead, you build your life around clarity, purpose, and presence. Not to push her away, but to anchor yourself. Because when you stop needing her validation, you regain something far more valuable than her approval. You regain your own respect. If you know this is speaking to you, I want you to take action right now. Drop a comment and write, "I own my frame." That statement matters because the moment you stop begging for approval is the moment you step back into being the man she can value, and more importantly, the man you can value yourself. Number 2. Scarcity makes her chase. One of the simplest but most powerful truths in female psychology is this: if you are always available, you become invisible. Scarcity creates value. Scarcity creates curiosity. Scarcity makes her chase. But when you remove all sense of scarcity, when you are constantly at her disposal, answering every text in seconds, rearranging your life just to be there, dropping everything to please her, you don't increase her respect. You kill it. Think about the things people desire most. They're never the ones that are unlimited. Nobody craves what's always on the shelf. We crave what's rare, what's earned, what we can't immediately have. Relationships are no different. A woman may enjoy your attention at first, but if you're always on tap, she begins to devalue it. And once devalued, it's nearly impossible to reverse without change. The Stoics understood the power of limits. Seneca wrote, "Nothing is more honorable than a grateful heart." Gratitude only exists when something feels precious. Translate that into attraction. She only appreciates your presence when it is given intentionally, not constantly. Scarcity signals that your time is valuable, and when your time is valuable, so are you. Now, here's the mistake men make. They believe constant availability proves loyalty. They confuse sacrifice with strength. But loyalty isn't about abandoning your own life to orbit hers. Loyalty is about standing strong in your path while sharing it with someone who values it. If you're giving up your mission just to be available, you're not being loyal, you're being desperate. And desperation never inspires attraction. Scarcity, on the other hand, communicates choice. It says, "I could give you my time, but I choose when and how." That choice creates polarity. She feels the gap. She wonders where you are, what you're doing, why you're not instantly responding. And that space is where desire grows. Not because you're playing games, but because you've built a life that isn't revolving around her every mood. Marcus Aurelius put it plainly, "You have power over your mind, not outside events." Realize this and you will find strength. Scarcity is about that power. It's not about manipulation. It's about recognizing that your time and attention are finite and treating them as such. When you invest all of it in one place without boundaries, you tell her you don't value yourself. When you manage it with discipline, you communicate strength. Here's the catch: you can't fake scarcity. If you pretend to be busy but you're really waiting by the phone, she will feel the truth. Scarcity must be real, rooted in the fact that you have a mission, goals, friends, health, and a life that matters beyond her. That authenticity is what creates respect. She knows you're not ignoring her to manipulate her, you're simply not defined by her. And that difference changes everything. So ask yourself, are you living in a way that makes your time scarce and valuable? Or are you always on call, always bending, always ready to please? Because if you're always there, she has no reason to chase. But when you stand firm in your own life, you create the one thing every woman cannot resist: the mystery of a man who doesn't need to be needed. If this resonates, I want you to write it in the comments right now. I choose scarcity. Because the man who lives with scarcity isn't pushing her away, he's pulling her closer by reminding her that he is not easily replaced. Number 3. Silence cuts deeper than words. Most men think the best way to handle tension with a woman is to talk more. They explain, they defend, they argue, and they hope that words will fix the situation. But in reality, nothing cuts deeper than silence. Strategic silence, when used with strength, not out of weakness, does more to shift power than hours of back and forth ever could. Because silence communicates what words often can't, that you are not controlled by her reactions, and you do not need her validation to stand firm. Consider Thomas, 56, from Ohio. He'd been married to Rachel, 51, for decades. Anytime Rachel pulled back emotionally, Thomas reacted by talking more. He wrote long texts, explained himself over and over, even begged for reassurance. Each word only made Rachel colder. Why? Because his constant need to be heard revealed his dependence. But when Thomas finally learned to stay silent, not as punishment but as discipline, everything shifted. Rachel noticed the absence of his pursuit. She started wondering what he was thinking, what he was doing. For the first time in years, she felt the weight of his presence without him saying a word. Silence works because it creates space. And in that space, she feels the loss of your attention. It forces her to confront her own behavior instead of reacting to yours. Words often fuel the fire, but silence extinguishes it. The Stoics lived by this principle. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The best answer to anger is silence." They knew that restraint is stronger than reaction. A man who can control his tongue proves he can control himself. And self-control is the foundation of respect. Now, here's the key. Silence isn't about sulking or manipulation. It's not the cold shoulder. It's grounded composure. When Rachel sensed Thomas's silence was different, not angry, not desperate, just steady, she felt something she hadn't felt in years. Respect. That respect created curiosity, and curiosity rekindled a spark of desire. Angela, 47, from Michigan, felt the same shift with her husband Eric, 53. Eric had always been the one to over-explain. Every argument turned into an endless cycle of defense and justification. Angela stopped listening years ago. But when Eric began choosing silence, listening more, saying less, refusing to argue, Angela was unsettled. She had grown used to having power over every conversation. Silence removed that power. And in its place came an unfamiliar feeling. She started seeking his attention instead of avoiding it. Silence also communicates boundaries. It tells her that not everything deserves a reaction, and not every comment has the power to pull you off balance. That steadiness is what separates men who chase approval from men who command respect. Here's the question you have to ask yourself. Do you react instantly to every shift in her mood, or can you stay grounded and silent when needed? Because the man who can stay silent with strength never needs to beg for control. He already has it. If you're ready to claim that power, I want you to declare it in the comments right now. I master silence. Because silence, when used with discipline, isn't weakness. It's the strongest statement a man can make without saying a word. Number 4. Boundaries spark her respect. Respect in relationships isn't born from endless compromise. It's born from boundaries. The truth is simple. If you don't protect your limits, she won't respect them. And when respect fades, so does attraction. Many men confuse being agreeable with being admirable. They say yes to everything, hoping it will make her happy, but it only makes them look weak. Boundaries, on the other hand, show strength, and strength is what reignites respect. A boundary is not about controlling her behavior. It's about controlling your own. It's the line you draw for yourself that says, this is what I will allow, and this is what I won't. When a man has no boundaries, he becomes clay in her hands, easy to mold, easy to discard. But when he holds his line calmly and consistently, he communicates self-respect, and self-respect is magnetic. The Stoics understood this. Epictetus wrote, "No man is free who is not master of himself." That mastery is what boundaries create. You can't stop her from testing you. Women will test men, it's part of psychology, part of nature. But you can stop yourself from collapsing under those tests. Boundaries are proof that you are not afraid of her reaction. You are loyal to your values, not her moods. Many men fear that boundaries will push her away. The opposite is true. When you calmly say no, when you refuse to sacrifice your mission for constant approval, you don't lose her, you make her notice you again. She may resist in the moment, but deep down, respect grows. Because she knows you cannot be swayed like a leaf in the wind, and that steadiness creates desire. Marcus Aurelius said, "Waste no more time arguing what a good man should be. Be one." A good man isn't one who bends until he breaks. A good man is one who lives his principles without apology. And when you embody that, you don't just spark respect, you keep it alive. Now here's the challenge. Boundaries are easy to talk about, but hard to live out. They require courage, discipline, and the willingness to risk her temporary disappointment for long-term respect. But every time you hold a boundary, you reinforce your strength. And every time you collapse, you weaken it. Which man do you want to be? If this resonates with you, here's what I want you to do. Take a moment and think about the area of your life where your boundaries have slipped. Maybe it's how much time you sacrifice. Maybe it's tolerating disrespect. Maybe it's abandoning your goals. Then drop a comment right now and write, "I stand firm." And if you're ready to go deeper, if you want real tools to build unshakable boundaries and live by them every day, I invite you to join the membership. That's where I share the advanced lessons that don't make it onto YouTube. It's where men like you sharpen their frame, grow in strength, and apply Stoic wisdom in practical ways. If you've been watching from the sidelines, now is the time to step in. Boundaries spark respect, but discipline keeps it alive. Choose today to be the man who stands firm, not the man who folds. Because once you master boundaries, you stop begging for value, you start embodying it. Number 5. Presence is sexier than pursuit. Here's something most men get completely wrong. They believe the more they pursue a woman, the more she'll desire them. They send constant texts, shower her with compliments, bend over backwards to prove their interest. But pursuit without presence is empty. What truly creates desire isn't relentless chasing, it's grounded presence. Presence is the energy you carry in a room, the way you look at her without rushing, the calm confidence of a man who doesn't need to prove himself. Take Michael, 52, from California. When he first met Julia, 48, she was drawn to his calm energy. He didn't overtalk, didn't try to impress, didn't flood her phone with messages. He showed up, looked her in the eyes, and listened. That was enough to spark attraction. But as the years passed, Michael slipped into constant pursuit. Every moment he was checking in, asking if she was happy, pushing for more attention. Julia didn't feel loved, she felt smothered. The more he chased, the more she pulled away. What had once been sexy, his steady presence, had been replaced with the neediness of pursuit. Presence communicates something pursuit never can: self-control. A man who is fully present tells her, "I am here, but I am not chasing." He's attentive without being desperate. He listens without trying to dominate. He allows space but fills it with confidence. That balance draws her in because it shows that his attention is a choice, not an addiction. Think of Lisa, 45, married to Robert, 55 inches, New York. Robert had a habit of pursuing endlessly, thinking it would keep their bond alive. But when he learned to slow down and just be present, sharing a quiet dinner, without forcing conversation, putting down his phone and simply listening, Lisa softened. She felt his energy again, not his chasing. And that reminded her of the man she first fell for. The Stoics valued presence above all. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." They believed the present moment is the only one we can truly live in. Apply that to relationships. Presence is far more powerful than planning, proving, or pushing. It's about being there fully without anxiety about her reaction. That calm focus creates a magnetic pull that words can't manufacture. So the shift is clear. Stop flooding her with effort and start cultivating your presence. Pursuit screams insecurity. Presence whispers strength. And in the psychology of desire, strength is always sexier. If you're ready to put this into practice, I want you to anchor it right now. Drop a comment and write, "I choose presence." Because the man who learns to carry presence doesn't need to chase. He becomes the kind of man she naturally wants to move closer to, without him saying a word. Number 6. Starve her ego of attention. One of the hardest truths for men to swallow is this: the more attention you pour into her ego, the less she values you. At first, giving attention feels like the right move. You think you're being loving, supportive, reassuring, but what you're really doing is feeding her ego until it grows larger than your presence. And once her ego is overfed, her respect for you starts to shrink. Attention is a currency. When you spend it recklessly, it loses value. When you give it sparingly, it becomes powerful. Women know this instinctively. That's why the compliments from the man who doesn't give them easily mean more than endless praise from the man who can't stop talking. If she knows she can always draw your attention, no matter what, she stops craving it. But when you pull back, when you discipline yourself to give it with intention instead of desperation, suddenly she starts chasing it. The Stoics taught discipline in every aspect of life, including desire. Seneca once said, "He who is everywhere is nowhere." Spread yourself too thin, and your presence becomes meaningless. Translate that into relationships. If your attention is everywhere, always available, it loses power. The strength of your attention lies in its scarcity. Here's what most men get wrong. They confuse starving her ego with neglecting her. Neglect pushes a woman away. Starving her ego isn't about ignoring her needs. It's about refusing to feed her constant hunger for validation. It's the difference between giving her your presence when it matters and showering her with empty praise just to keep her calm. Attention should be earned, not demanded. If she treats you with respect, if she shows appreciation, then your attention is a gift she values. But if she disrespects you, if she takes you for granted and you still hand her your focus on a silver platter, you're teaching her one thing: she doesn't need to value you to have you. And once she learns that, attraction dies. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "The soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts." If all your thoughts are about her, your entire being becomes wrapped up in her. That's when she loses attraction, because she no longer sees you as your own man. But when your thoughts are grounded in discipline, in purpose, in your own mission, you stop handing her your attention like candy. And that restraint forces her to notice the difference. Think about it like this. Every time you respond instantly, every time you compliment without reason, every time you chase with your words and energy, you're not showing love, you're showing dependency. But when you stand firm, when you let silence speak, when you focus on your life instead of overfeeding her ego, you reclaim your power. This doesn't mean becoming cold or heartless. It means recognizing that your attention is valuable and treating it like gold. When you starve her ego of unnecessary attention, you make her work for it. And when she works for it, she respects it. And respect is the soil where desire grows. So ask yourself, are you giving away your attention like it's worthless, or are you guarding it like it matters? Because the man who starves her ego isn't pushing her away, he's making her see his value again. If you're ready to anchor this, drop it in the comments right now. I protect my attention. Because the moment you stop feeding her ego is the moment she stops taking you for granted and starts craving the man who knows his worth. Number 7. Self-mastery flips the power. Every man wants to feel respected in his relationship, but respect doesn't come from what you say to her. It comes from what you prove to yourself. And the foundation of that is self-mastery. When you can govern your impulses, discipline your habits, and stay grounded no matter what she does, you shift the entire dynamic. You flip the power, not by controlling her, but by controlling you. Let me show you what I mean. Richard, 55, from Arizona, had been married to Karen, 50, for nearly 3 decades. Over time, Richard started to lose control of himself. He stopped training at the gym, he reached for alcohol whenever stress hit, and he let every sharp word from Karen trigger a defensive argument. His lack of self-mastery made him reactive, and because he was reactive, Karen held the power. She knew exactly which buttons to push to knock him off balance. For years, their marriage spiraled into the same cycle, her provoking him, reacting, both of them losing respect. But when Richard hit a breaking point and decided to reclaim discipline, things changed. He cut back drinking, he rebuilt his routine, and most importantly, he stopped reacting to every one of Karen's tests. When she snapped, he stayed calm. When she withdrew, he didn't chase. For the first time in years, Karen looked at him differently. She could no longer shake his frame, and that shift flipped the power. Or think about Laura, 46, married to John, 52 inches, Florida. John used to think that controlling Laura's behavior would make him feel strong, but it never worked. The more he tried to manage her, the less she respected him. Only when John turned inward, working on his health, sharpening his focus at work, and choosing silence over arguments, did Laura's attitude shift. She began seeking his approval, instead of taking it for granted. Why? Because self-mastery made him untouchable. The Stoics were relentless about this. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." You cannot control her moods, her choices, or her actions, but you can control your own. And the man who does is always in the position of power, not because he manipulates, but because he is unshakable. Here's the reality. Without self-mastery, you live at the mercy of her tests. With self-mastery, those tests lose their grip. She can't draw you into endless fights. She can't manipulate you with silence. She can't erode your confidence with criticism, because you've trained yourself to remain steady regardless of external storms. And steadiness is magnetic. Women don't want a man they can control. They want a man they can trust to control himself. That's the man who earns respect. That's the man who sparks desire long after the initial attraction fades. And that's the man who can walk away if needed, because his worth isn't tied to her reaction. So here's the question. Are you mastering yourself, or are you waiting for her to respect a version of you that you don't even respect yet? The man who chooses mastery flips the power dynamic forever. If this speaks to you, lock it in right now. Drop a comment and write, "I master myself." Because the moment you do, you stop being the man who reacts, and you become the man she can't ignore. Number 8. Outgrow her, outshine her. One of the most overlooked truths in relationships is this: the moment you stop growing, you stop being attractive. Desire thrives on movement, on evolution, on a man becoming more than he was yesterday. But when you plateau, when you settle into routines without ambition, when your life becomes predictable and stagnant, she starts to lose respect. The attraction that once burned begins to dim. Outgrowing her doesn't mean leaving her behind, it means continuing to evolve so that she has no choice but to keep noticing you. Too many men make the mistake of thinking that once they have the woman, the work is done. They stop chasing excellence. They stop pushing their own boundaries. They stop building themselves. And when that happens, she doesn't stop loving you overnight, but she starts to feel what many women quietly admit: the man she married isn't the man she desires anymore. The Stoics understood this principle deeply. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Be tolerant with others and strict with yourself." That strictness wasn't about being harsh, it was about never letting yourself become stagnant. Self-discipline, constant growth, and relentless progress were the path to strength. When you live this way, you don't just keep up with life, you outgrow it, and you outshine anyone who thought you would stay the same. Growth changes the balance of power. When she sees you still building, still learning, still chasing bigger goals, she can't put you in a box. She can't take you for granted. Outgrowing her forces her to see you, not as someone dependent on her validation, but as a man whose value increases with time. And that kind of man is hard to ignore. Here's the key: you don't grow to impress her. You grow because it is your duty as a man. You sharpen your body, expand your mind, pursue your mission, because that's who you are. The result is that she notices. And when she notices, the respect that might have faded begins to return. Seneca once said, "As long as you live, keep learning how to live." That's the Stoic mindset. You don't stop developing at 40, 50, or 60. In fact, that's when growth matters most. Because most men around you will have given up. They'll settle into mediocrity. When you refuse to join them, when you outgrow your own past and outshine your surroundings, you stand out not just to her, but to the world. Here's the uncomfortable truth. If you don't outgrow her, she will outgrow you. If you don't shine brighter, she will look for light elsewhere. That doesn't mean competing with her. It means competing with the man you were yesterday. When you do that consistently, you flip the script. Instead of you wondering how to hold her attention, she's the one wondering how to keep up with you. So ask yourself, are you still growing, or have you stopped? Are you outshining the man you were last year, or are you coasting on the past? Because the man who outgrows and outshines doesn't need to beg for desire. He creates it by the way he lives. If this speaks to you, anchor it right now. Drop a comment and write, "I keep growing." Because the man who outgrows and outshines isn't chasing approval. He's building a life so powerful that she can't help but feel drawn back into his orbit. Number 9. Desire her, but never need her. There's a difference between desire and need that most men fail to understand. Desire is magnetic. It's the spark in your eyes when you look at her, the weight of your touch, the strength of your presence. Need, on the other hand, is suffocating. It's the endless texts, the begging for reassurance, the way you crumble when she pulls back. Women crave desire, but they lose attraction the second they sense need. To be a man she respects, you must want her without ever needing her. Take Daniel, 57, from Chicago. When he first met Melissa, 50, he was full of purpose. He had his career, his hobbies, his circle of friends. Melissa loved how Daniel wanted her, but didn't depend on her for his happiness. But years later, after retirement, Daniel let his identity shrink. Melissa became his entire world. Every decision revolved around her. If she was distant, he panicked. If she was upset, he broke himself trying to fix it. His desire had turned into need, and once it did, Melissa no longer felt attraction. She felt pressure. Contrast that with Paul, 54, from North Carolina, married to Emily, 49. Paul never stopped living a full life. He loved Emily deeply, but he never made her his only source of joy. He had his gym routine, his volunteer work, his friends, his personal projects. Emily felt his desire. His eyes still lit up when she walked into the room, but she never felt that he needed her to complete him. That difference kept the attraction alive. The Stoics would say this is the essence of control. Epictetus taught, "It is not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." A man who desires a woman without needing her reacts from strength. He appreciates her presence but doesn't collapse at her absence. He can enjoy love without being enslaved by it. Women know the difference instinctively. When you desire her, she feels chosen. When you need her, she feels trapped. Desire says, "I want you." Need says, "I can't live without you." The first is sexy. The second is suffocating. So here's the truth. She doesn't want to be your oxygen. She wants to be your fire. Fires burn brightest when fed with strength, not desperation. The moment you prove you can stand alone, that your life is full and meaningful without her constant approval, that's the moment she respects you. And respect is the soil where desire grows. Ask yourself, do you desire her or do you need her? Are you looking at her with passion or clinging to her with fear? The man who learns this difference never loses his frame. If you feel this message cutting deep, anchor it now. Drop a comment and write, "I choose desire." Because the man who desires without need is the man she cannot ignore. and the man who will never lose himself no matter what. Number 10. The man who walks away wins. There's one truth men resist more than any other, but it's the most liberating of all. The man who can walk away is the man who wins. Not because walking away is always the right choice, but because the ability to walk away means you are free. And freedom is the foundation of respect, attraction, and peace of mind. Most men don't live this way. They tie their entire identity to the relationship. They sacrifice their standards, swallow disrespect, and accept misery because they fear losing her. They think staying at all costs proves love, when in reality it proves weakness. A woman can feel when you are trapped. She can sense when you can't leave. And when she knows you can't walk away, she stops valuing you. Why? Because deep down she knows you're no longer a choice. You're a prisoner of your own fear. The man who wins is different. He values the relationship, but he values himself more. He loves her presence, but he doesn't depend on it for his worth. If she crosses a line, he doesn't explode, he simply leaves. If she stops respecting him, he doesn't beg, he lets go. That kind of man is rare. And because he is rare, he is irresistible. The Stoics would call this freedom of the will. Epictetus said freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You cannot control her desire, her loyalty, or her choices, but you can control your standards. And when your standards are non-negotiable, the power shifts back to you. Walking away doesn't mean you don't care. It means you refuse to stay in a place that diminishes you. It means you recognize that love without respect isn't love worth keeping. It means you trust yourself enough to risk loss rather than accept disrespect. Think about the psychology at play. When a woman knows you can leave, she knows your presence is a choice, not a prison. And that awareness forces her to value you differently. You're no longer the man begging to be kept. You're the man she must earn to keep. This isn't a game. It's reality. The man who cannot walk away has already surrendered. The man who can, even if he chooses to stay, always holds the power. And here's the twist. Many times when you show you're willing to walk, you don't have to. Respect returns. Desire wakes back up, because she realizes you are not afraid of loss, and that fearlessness is what women find magnetic. You didn't cling, you didn't collapse, you didn't beg. You stood tall and you were ready to walk. That stance alone changes everything. Marcus Aurelius captured this spirit perfectly when he wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." Walking away is simply living that out. If the relationship is no longer right, if it no longer reflects truth, respect, and growth, you don't argue. You don't explain endlessly. You take your steps and you leave. That clarity is what makes a man unshakable. So here's the final lesson. She may love you, she may want you, she may choose you. But the moment she senses you cannot walk away, the balance is gone. Your strength lies in your freedom. The man who stays because he chooses to, not because he has to, is the man she will respect forever. That's why the man who walks away wins. Because no matter what happens, he never loses himself. So now you see the truth. It's not the arguments, not the jealousy, not the words that hurt her most. What shakes her at the deepest level is when you stop begging, when you guard your attention, when you hold your frame, and when you live as a man who can always walk away. That shift changes everything. This isn't about punishing her. It's about respecting yourself. A woman cannot value a man who doesn't value himself first. But the moment you choose discipline over desperation, presence over pursuit, desire over need, you reclaim what you lost. And once you stand firm in that, you stop asking, "How can I make her want me?" and start living as a man who is wanted because of who he is. That's the essence of Stoicism. Not controlling others, but mastering yourself. Not chasing what's outside your control, but holding strong to your standards. And when you live that way, respect returns, attraction rebuilds, and most importantly, you never lose yourself again. If you want to go further, if you want the tools, the lessons, and the deeper guidance to master these truths, I invite you to join the membership. That's where we take these principles and put them into daily practice. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel so you don't miss what's coming next. Thank you for watching, thank you for investing in yourself, and I'll see you tomorrow.